Hello and welcome. Before we dive into the slides, I want to start somewhere a little different. I want to ask you a few questions and I want you to answer them honestly in your own head as we go. Question 1. Most of you are probably already using AI in some form such as copilots, chat assistants, or code suggestions. But ask yourself, is AI actually changing how your team delivers software? Or is it just helping individual developers type a little faster? Question 2. Think about the last feature your team shipped. How many tools did that requirement pass through from the original idea all the way to production, and how much context was lost along the way? If you've ever seen a developer build something that didn't quite match what the business intended, then you already know the answer. Question 3. Think about how much of your engineering capacity goes into rework. This includes rejected pull requests, misunderstood requirements, and bugs caught too late. Has AI tooling actually reduced that? Or does it just feel like the same problems are happening faster? Question 4. When a test fails in your pipeline, how long does it take to figure out whether the problem is in the test itself, the service, or the original requirements? For most teams, the honest answer is too long. Question 5. And this one is for the leaders in the room. If someone asked you right now how much your team spent on large language model calls last sprint broken down per feature, could you answer that? For most organizations, AI spend is a black box. And one last question. Would you let an AI agent release code to production on its own, with no human review and no final sign-off? Most people instinctively say no. That instinct matters. We'll come back to why a little later. Keep those questions in the back of your mind, because everything I'm about to show you was designed to answer them. Let's start with the distinction that changed how we think about AI in software delivery. Here's the distinction I want to anchor this whole conversation around. AI-assisted development is not the same thing as AI-accelerated. Today, I believe most teams are at the AI-assisted stage, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's a reasonable place to be. But it's important to recognize that AI-assisted does not equal AI-accelerated. Let's look at the left side. AI-assisted is helpful. It suggests code. It dramatically improves typing speed. It boosts individual developer productivity, and that's a real gain. Nobody is arguing otherwise. But notice what's happening. Developers code faster. Manual requirements still slow projects down. The AI operates within an isolated scope. It only sees the file the developer is working on. Rework still consumes engineering capacity. And the net impact on time to market is measurable, but incremental. Maybe 2 or 3 times faster at best. Here's where the gap lies. The underlying delivery architecture hasn't changed. Backlogs still grow. Pull requests still get rejected. Requirements still get rewritten. Adding AI tools to a broken pipeline doesn't necessarily make delivery faster. It just makes the bottleneck happen sooner. Now look at the right side. AI accelerated is a different model entirely. New features reach production faster, not because developers type faster, but because the entire pipeline moves faster. Requirements move from idea to build in hours, not weeks. The AI operates with full project context across the business, architecture, and delivery. Rework drops dramatically, which frees up real engineering capacity. And release cycles get significantly shorter, which means faster return on investment. At QAT Global, this is what we focus on. We help teams move from AI-assisted to AI-accelerated. And that means embedding AI across the entire software development lifecycle, not just dropping a copilot into one phase of it. So let me show you what that actually looks like in practice. We're seeing real results when we integrate AI across the entire SDLC, and the reason is in the details. Let me walk you through how the traditional approach compares to the Diamond AI Accelerated framework, side by side. On the left, the traditional approach is sequential and slow. Product hands off to software. There are siloed handoffs at every stage. Business ideas are passed to engineering, often through a written document, and often with critical context missing. Feedback is delayed. It doesn't show up until the validation or testing phase, which means problems are discovered after the code is already written. Misaligned goals lead to rework, and product and tech end up in conflict because they're not actually working in the same workflow. On the right, The Diamond AI Accelerated framework is integrated and fast. And the key insight is this: it's not about individual tooling, it's about team wide collaboration. When the entire team operates within the same workflow, you get real results. Zero handoffs and continuous collaboration across every phase. Real time feedback with immediate validation through AI agents. Not at the end of a sprint, but as the work is being done. Aligned execution and unified metrics across teams. And one team with business, design, and tech working as a single unit, not three groups passing artifacts between them. And here's where the business value becomes concrete. Significantly reduced rework that comes from true alignment across business, design, and technology. Quality improves because security, end-to-end testing, and performance are embedded from the start. They're not an afterthought at the end of the pipeline. They're part of the workflow itself. Now let's drill down on this comparison and look at the maturity levels that separate the traditional approach from the AI accelerated one I'm suggesting. Let's break this down into three maturity levels so you can see clearly where most organizations sit today and where Diamond AI takes them. Level 0 is traditional methodology. External requirements written in documents. Copy-paste implementation. Multiple handoffs throughout the SDLC. This is where most teams operated before AI entered the picture. There is no AI in the pipeline and productivity is at 1x. The baseline. Level 1 is where I believe most teams are right now. This is Copilot-assisted autocomplete. The AI suggests code, but without full context. It's essentially faster typing, which is useful, but contained. You might see 1.5 to 2 times productivity, but the process itself, the way work flows through the team, hasn't changed. Level 2 is where Diamond AI operates. Requirements, architecture, and standards are all integrated within the workflow. There's no individual prompting from each developer's interpretation. The AI doesn't just suggest, it performs the implementation. And the entire team works in the same workflow with full and consistent context and zero manual handoffs. That's how you get 5 to 10 times productivity. Not by faster typing, by faster delivery. So that's the maturity model. Next, let me walk you through the Diamond AI methodology itself, from business requirements all the way through deployment, so you can see how each phase builds on the one before it. This is the Diamond AI methodology in one picture. The 5 phases at the top start with business requirements, project planning, development, and take you all the way through quality assurance to deploy. And underneath is the actual flow of work. It's what we call the agentic software development lifecycle. There are 8 stages, from business documents on the left to deployment on the right. What Diamond AI is really doing here is enforcing a methodology across the entire development lifecycle, one that includes continuous QA and governance, human-in-the-loop oversight, and measurable outcomes at every step. And AI agents are included for each phase of that lifecycle. 3 things I want you to notice right away. First, every stage has at least one AI agent assigned to it. Those are the robot icons. Second, every stage has a gate between it and the next one. Those are the locks. And third, the entire flow sits on top of a human-in-the-loop band. That is the foundation of the methodology. Now let's look at phase 1, the business requirements. This is where we turn business intent into clear, executable requirements. The analyst agent helps capture and refine requirements from interviews and unstructured data. It validates and finalizes business intent. It generates structured requirements along with QA acceptance criteria. It can develop prototypes to validate direction before you commit to a build. And it aligns the entire downstream development effort to your defined standards. By the end of phase 1, you have a buildable specification. Next is phase 2, project planning. This is the major step where the plan actually comes together. We define the project charter and create the product backlog. We answer the planning questions that determine whether a project will succeed, who should be involved, how long it should take, and what the success criteria and KPIs look like. And critically, design happens here too, not later. We design architecture aligned to business objectives. We establish development standards and guardrails. We define data models and integrations. And we embed governance, security, and compliance into the plan itself. So they're built in from the start rather than bolted on at the end. Now we move on to phase 3, development. This is accelerated development with AI. We fine-tune and validate the requirements one more time before code is written. The developer agent generates the code. Outputs are validated and code is reviewed. Quality gates are applied, and the work is packaged and handed off to QA. The developer is still in the loop, but the agent is doing the heavy lifting. Next up is phase 4, quality assurance. This allows us to validate everything that has been produced with confidence. This ensures every release is production ready because testing is AI accelerated and evidence-based. We run automated smoke, regression, cross-service journey, and performance tests. We capture evidence for traceability and classify risk, including known defects, new regressions, and blockers. This includes generating a single dashboard with pass rate, coverage, trends, and key failures. And the output is a clear release recommendation. Go, conditional go, or no go. This means there is no more debate at the release meeting. And finally, phase 5, deploy. Here you release with control. Software is delivered with consistency, quality, and traceability. We integrate with your enterprise systems and data. We enforce quality gates and release controls. We manage versioning and change workflows. And we deploy through governed CI/CD pipelines. And the band running underneath all of it, human in the loop, is the foundation. AI agents do the work. Humans approve, review, and decide at every gate. That combination is what makes this enterprise ready. That's the methodology at a high level. Now let me show you what makes Diamond AI fundamentally different from traditional AI-assisted development, starting with how a single unified workflow replaces the fragmented toolchains most teams rely on today. This is the Diamond AI reference architecture. There are 3 engineered pillars feeding one source of truth, so AI accelerates delivery without losing control. Everything starts at the top, with a board management system. That's the single source of truth. The backlog becomes specifications. Specifications become pull requests. And every step of that transformation is version controlled, reviewable, and auditable. Nothing happens off the books. The first pillar is requirements. This is owned by project managers, project owners, and business stakeholders, including your scrum masters and product people. The board management integration takes the backlog and treats it as the source of truth. Requirements are transformed into specifications that are ready for AI agents to consume, meaning they're structured, unambiguous, and complete enough for an agent to act on without guesswork. The second pillar is agentic workflow development. This is the core engine. It converts agent-ready specs into pull requests. The development team runs the agentic workflows and agents on their own machines with full control. The workflow continuously monitors agent-ready work items, and the board management integration detects failures, provides feedback, and turns specifications into pull requests with full traceability back to the original work item. The third pillar is quality assurance. We've built a multi-client testing command line interface. It's built on Playwright, Bun, Node.js, and K6. It covers smoke tests, single service, multi-service, regression, cross-service journeys, contracts, health checks, and performance testing. And it tests applications in any browser with real device emulation for mobile and tablets. And underneath all 3 pillars is the Diamond AI platform layer. The dashboard, the agents, the toolings, the scripts, the automations. Everything that makes this architecture work as one integrated system, not 3 disconnected tools you have to glue together. So that's the reference architecture. Now let me show you how Diamond AI actually stacks up against traditional AI-assisted development, specifically how a unified workflow, shared context, and role-based agents replace the fragmented tool chains and generic copilots most teams rely on today. Most AI development tools today are code copilots. They help individual developers write code faster, but they don't change how teams work together, and they don't govern the delivery process. Let's look at the 3 places that gap shows up most. Start with workflow. In a traditional setup, you have separate tools for requirements, separate tools for design, separate tools for coding, and separate tools for testing. Each one has its own copilot, its own context, and manual handoffs in between. Every handoff is a chance to lose information. Diamond AI is built for spec-driven development. The entire team, from analyst to QA, operates within a single unified workflow with shared context, from requirements all the way to a pull request. One workflow, one set of artifacts, one chain of custody. When we say spec-driven, we mean something very specific. The entire team draws from the same context, the same requirements repositories, the same development standards, the same architecture decisions. Developers are no longer writing prompts from their own individual interpretation of what needs to be built. If you've used copilots, you'll recognize the problem immediately. Every developer prompting from their own understanding of the requirement leads to inconsistency, drift, and rework. Shared context fixes that at the source. And third, the team structure. Diamond AI doesn't use generic assistants. It mirrors your organization with dedicated role-based agents, including analyst, project manager, architect, developer, and QA, each one with human gates at every step. And critically, all of them work from the same governed specification. One team, one spec, one source of truth. Exactly what's on the bottom of the slide. So that's the workflow and the team structure. But Diamond AI also changes what gets delivered and how you track the cost of doing it. Let me show you. There are two more dimensions where Diamond AI is fundamentally different. The first is delivery scope. Most AI tools today only accelerate one phase, code generation. But requirements are still written manually. Design reviews are still manual. Testing is still manual. You've sped up one step in a 10-step pipeline. The pipeline is only as fast as its slowest stage, so you've barely moved the needle on the overall delivery time. Diamond AI goes beyond code generation. It delivers true pipeline compression with managed, spec-driven delivery, with governed phases from work item all the way through to a pull request. That's not just an incremental improvement. That's compressing the entire delivery lifecycle. The second dimension is governance and cost visibility. With traditional AI tools, large language models spend is usually a black box. Every developer is using different tools, different models, sometimes different vendors. Nobody has a consolidated view of what AI actually costs the organization. And in 2026, that's an unacceptable level of opacity for a line item this large. Diamond AI tracks all LLM costs natively per work item, per phase. The dashboard shows total spend right alongside delivery statistics. You can watch a work item go from intake to pull request, and you can see exactly what it costs to produce. Cost transparency from day one, visible at every stage of delivery. So let's bring this together. Diamond AI gives you a single unified workflow, role-based agents working from a shared specification, full lifecycle acceleration that goes beyond just code, and complete cost visibility from day one. That is what makes this fundamentally different from bolting a copilot onto your existing toolchain. That's Diamond AI as a delivery engine in principle. Now let me show you what it actually looks like in practice. Let's look at the control panel where all of this comes together. Everything I've described so far, including the unified workflow, the role-based agents, and the cost tracking, it all lives in one place. This is the Diamond AI control panel. This is a real dashboard, not a wireframe or a vendor concept image. This is what's actually running in production today. What you're seeing is the central hub where project managers, developers, and leadership all get visibility into what's happening across the delivery pipeline. At the top, you can see the live metrics. 421 events, 100% success rate across 406 runs. Total cost of $5.60 across 9.1 million tokens. An average duration just under 2 minutes per phase. That's not a quarterly summary. It shows the state right now. Here's why this matters. Instead of switching between your board management system, your continuous integration pipeline, your cost spreadsheets, and your testing reports, everything is here in a single view. There is one source of truth for delivery status, for agent activity, and for spend. For leadership, this means you don't have to ask how things are going. You can see it whenever you want. For project managers, it means real-time insight into where every work item stands. And for developers, it means the system is tracking progress in the background, so they can focus on building. Now let me zoom in and show you what it actually looks like when a single work item moves through this pipeline from agent-ready specification all the way to a pull request. This is the pipeline view of the same dashboard. What you're looking at is a real work item moving through the pipeline from agent-ready all the way to a pull request. You can see the work items start on the left. Classify, then branch, then worktree, plan, build, verify, and finally pull request. Each stage shows its status, its duration, and its cost. Most of them are already complete and marked successful. The resolve stage is still running. Full traceability at every step, with no manual stitching required. And notice the produced panel on the right. Those are the actual files this pipeline has created or modified. You can trace any work item back to the exact artifacts it generated. Look at the statistics at the top of the dashboard. Every token, every agent call, every LLM interaction is tracked and visible. There's no guesswork about what AI is costing the organization. And the cost distribution bar at the bottom breaks down spend by phase. Classify, branch, worktree, plan, build, verify, pull request. You can see exactly where the money is going. This is what we mean by built-in cost intelligence. Leadership gets a single transparent view showing exactly how AI is being used, what it's delivering, and what it costs per work item, not just in aggregate. You don't have to wait for the monthly bill to find out where AI spend is going. You can see it as the work happens. So let me bring this back to where we started. At the beginning, I asked you a few questions. Is AI actually changing how your team delivers software, or just helping individuals type faster? How much context gets lost between the original idea and the production code? How much of your engineering capacity goes to rework? When a test fails, how long does it take to find the cause? Do you actually know what AI is costing you per feature? And would you let an AI release to production on its own? Diamond AI was built to answer those questions directly. It provides a unified, governed workflow that compresses the entire pipeline, not just the coding step. There is shared context across every role, so the team is no longer prompting from individual interpretations. It includes role-based agents that mirror your organization, with a human in the loop at every gate. The built-in cost intelligence makes AI spend transparent from day one. And finally, testing that gives you a clear release recommendation. This isn't AI assisted. This is AI accelerated. And it's how we believe enterprise software gets delivered in 2026 and beyond. At QAT Global, your success is our mission.